Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today is the third part of a short series that I was doing on where I blended fiber on the drum carder and pulled it into roving in part one. Part two, I spun it into singles and then plied it together and then sent it in to soak to set the twist. And now I have the completed yarn. And I am making swatches for you. So we're going to do a crochet swatch and a knitted swatch. Now I did have a tad bit of chain ply that I took, and I did that from what I had left from one bobbin. So I just chain plied it, and I did work it up in the round, and I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So I didn't make it all the way around to finish this single crochet round, but this is what it looks like all crocheted up. And that was the chain ply that I did. There wasn't a whole lot left, but I didn't want to waste it, so I just chain plied it. So here we have the completed yarn. Now I did start a swatch, a crochet swatch, and this is a row of single crochets and 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of double crochet. So there you go, you can see that. Now I'll do a row of double crochets with you, and then I'm going to knit a swatch as well, so that way you can see what it looks like knitted. Now this is a more rough wool. It's not like wearable friendly, so I wouldn't make a hat out of this. There's not a whole lot here anyway. But I definitely would not make a beanie. It would be very itchy on your forehead or ears or neck. So I definitely wouldn't make a cowl out of it either, just because of the type of wool that it is. But if you wanted to make a placemat or something like that, because of the high wool content in it, you would be able to place something that's somewhat warm, hot on it. I wouldn't do too much because of the Angelina in it, which would cause it to melt, the Angelina to melt, which is your sparkly in it. But there you go. That is a double crochet swatch with a row of single crochets to start. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop off for a minute and work up a little swatch on knitting. Nothing too big. This is just a conclusion to part 1 and 2. All right, so I worked up a swatch. Down here we have some mock Turkish stitch, and the reason I did that was so that way you could see that yarn over and lacy area. Then I did just some regular stockinette stitch here, and then I did a 1 by 1, so knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 all the way across, and then just a couple rows of garter stitch to finish off this swatch, just so that way you could see, you know, a good bit of difference here. I'll turn it over so that way you can see the back side as well. So that's what the purl stitches would look like if you were to purl. And of course your 1 by 1 looks the same on both sides, and so does your stockinette, and so does the mock Turk stitch. I mean, it's completely reversible as well. And I do have a tutorial that came out not too long ago, and actually it's 3 different ways to do the mock Turkish stitch. But I will go ahead and just knit across a row so you can see. As I said, this is pretty rough wool. This particular type of wool is very rough. And yeah, definitely not meant for on the skin. You probably could get away with, if your hands weren't super sensitive, you probably could get away with potentially knitted mitts or something. But there you are. That is the knitted swatch. And again, we'll bring back over the double crochet swatch. Now I used a 6mm circular needle for the knitting. I used my 5mm furls for the crochet. And I used it for this as well on the chain spun. Now the chain spun is actually a 3-ply, because if you don't really understand what chain ply is, if you want to envision, if you will, here I'll run a chain. So what we're doing is we're taking a strand of yarn, a single, and we're making these big loops and chaining. So the same as if you were actually chaining a chain, just with a larger loop, some bigger than others. And as you're doing that, you're adding twist to that chain. So that is what creates a chain spun yarn. Hopefully that helped anyone who didn't understand what chain ply or chain spun yarn is. It's just like a crocheted chain with big loops and twisted at the same time. So here we are again, just a little range of your different types of stitches, knitting, crochet, and that is all out of that hand spun yarn that I created, from drum carder to roving to spinning singles to plying those singles together, and now knit and crochet. All right, everyone, I hope you all have enjoyed this little series. I've done them before. You can check out more of those by going and poking around in my playlists. And yeah, different ones that I've worked up and then knitted on the Addy or knitted by hand like I did here, and crocheted. All right, everyone, I want to thank each and every one of you. Be blessed and be a blessing. And until next video, bye for now.